people in the United States now know the Chinese Communist Party is an existential threat to humanity. They're guilty of genocide. Over 1 million innocent people throughout this world have died because of their virus, right? Died because of their virus that came from the P4 lab in Wuhan. Whether it was a gain-of-function experiment gone awry that leaked out or part of a biological weapons program is kind of beside the point. That's for their other guilt. We know that they made this. We know that they exacerbated its travel throughout the world. And what has Joe Biden done? Because he's owned by the Chinese Communist Party. When President Trump shuts down travel, what does Biden do? He sits there and takes the Beijing line. Trump's a racist. Trump's a nativist. Come on, man. They're not a competitor. Mayor Giuliani, I'm sorry going on my diatribe, but I want to go to you. You're the expert. You put Milken away. You put Wall Street away. You put the five families and broke the mafias of RICO. What is the RICO investigation that we're running right now on the Biden crime family?
Of it, okay? First of all, you gotta pay attention to the title point man. He's appointed point man 4 times. Every time he's appointed point man, the U.S. loses and the Biden family makes millions. So watch it. This is the Biden crime family, at least a brief synopsis of it. So he's appointed point man in Iraq. He goes to Iraq, and he's supposed to negotiate a status of forces agreement so that we can remain in Iraq to protect our interests there. Of course, Joe, as he always does, fails in the negotiations miserably. But his brother somehow becomes a partner in a $1.5 billion housing deal. He knows nothing about housing, just like Hunter knows nothing about energy. But somehow he becomes a 1/3 partner in a $1.5 billion housing deal. That's Iraq. Ukraine, we've already talked about. He's the bag man. Hunter is the bag man. He's collecting Joe's bribe, which is somewhere between $12 and $20 million. Let's be conservative, $12 million. Some of it, the $2 million a year the firm got, some of it, a laundered payment of $3.2 million that we have the document for, that went through Cyprus and Latvia. It didn't come from Russia. It came from Latvia and Cyprus. None of this came from Russia, not a single thing. And then we move on to Russia, where he got the 3.5 to 4 million from the widow of the mayor of Russia, who is a very close associate of Vladimir Putin. So all that Democratic talk about how Trump and Putin are very close, Trump never got any money from Putin. Biden did. I mean, it's ridiculous, Steve. They charge you or me or Trump with what they do, and they get the corrupt press to buy it. And the final coup de grace. I mean, the big money comes from China. We've only begun with China, and we've done 2 transactions that we've gone through in detail. One of them is a private equity firm in which China is a partner, a 1/4 partner. Who are the partners? Hunter Biden, the stepson of John Kerry, the then Secretary of State, and Whitey Bulger's nephew, James Bulger. You can't believe that, right? I mean, that's totally ridiculous. Also, you can't believe that could happen while Biden was negotiating for the United States, being criticized for being so weak. Again, America loses. He was supposed to get them out of the islands they were disputing with Japan. Instead, China reinforces the military there, raises tariffs. Joe miserably fails on his trip to China, but he brought his son along with him, the drug-addicted Hunter. And Hunter won. Even though he's drug-addicted, he got a letter about 6 days later committing $1 billion to a virtually useless private equity firm. You know from your days in finance, Steve, getting a $1 billion commitment? I mean, that's extraordinary. For a fund without a history? Impossible. And then China puts another $5 billion in. So while Joe is negotiating for the U.S. and for Japan on a highly sensitive national security matter, his son has become a partner with the government of China. So that's what I mean by America loses, the Biden family wins. And by the way, when I say his son was a partner, no. Joe Biden was a partner, because one of the texts that we have, and this is the one that I probably think is really the nail in the coffin. This is the one that makes the obvious provable. The obvious is this money's going to Joe Biden. Nobody is paying a drug addict $30 million. No Ukrainian oligarch, who's considered to be one of the most dangerous and crooked men in Ukraine, is paying useless money to a drug addict. I'm going to show you two pictures, which are two of many.
Mayor, hang on 1 second. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to turn.
Okay.
We'll let you go through all of it. Okay. Hashtag Warroom Pandemic. The live stream. It's on fire this morning. This is the CCP's ownership of Joe Biden, the Biden corruption scandal, and what Joe Biden did in looking the other way and going soft on the Chinese Communist Party when he was in charge of the pivot to Asia. We're going to return in a moment. Hashtag Warroom Pandemic, the live stream. We've got Jack Maxey. Eventually, in the next hour, we've got Jack Posobiec. We've got Dr. Bradley Thayer. We have Jana Bianco from the American Bond Foundation. We're spending the entire 2 hours on Joe Biden's ownership by the Chinese Communist Party. We will return with Mayor Rudy Giuliani in a moment.